Hello, welcome to the Memory Arcade. Yeah, so a little while ago, we played Castlevania Bloodlines, the Genesis, also 1994, title by Konami, which was kind of meant, I guess, in conjunction with this game, to address the fact that the Contra and Castlevania series were on a bunch of platforms, but when it came to the big two at the time, Nintendo and Sega, it was very much a Nintendo exclusive thing. And I don't think there was actually any contractual obligation, not to my knowledge at any time, for Konami to keep it that way. Maybe during the NES days, who knows? But point is, at some point, Sega. Actually, I can't even speak to who initiated that, but at some point, Sega and Konami were like, "Hey, let's work together. Let's put those franchises on a Genesis." And they were interesting, because the Super Nintendo definitely had the edge in certain graphical respects, you know, color variation, and actually, before we do anything else, yeah, there we go. Of course my gamepad turned itself off. Sorry, I should have said this before the attract mode that we're watching got to this boss. This game features a lot of almost full screen flashing lights on account of being 60 FPS and having these really big box sprites that flicker incessantly when you hit them. This can be tough for photosensitive people. I'm, if anything, mildly photosensitive, as in I find it uncomfortable sometimes. Like, I don't suffer from epilepsy, not that I know of, and I made it into my late 30s. This stream, put it in the title, I put it in the tweets, comes with a clear photosensitivity warning. I do not know how to combat this. Maybe if I reduce the footage to 30 FPS, it's kind of how accurate do I want to be? Because when you play these old games, sometimes if the footage is then converted to 30 FPS, certain sprites when they flicker, like very often when you get hit and you have a little bit of invincibility afterwards, your character sometimes has this little flicker, protective phase. And sometimes the sprite just completely vanishes in 30 FPS footage. So for me, as someone who wants to present retro games with a level of accuracy, I say a level because I still don't broadcast with I guess, old-timey CRT filter. This is not what these games look like, per se, on TVs back in the day. Yeah, kind of a, compromise that also, I guess, inaccurately lionizes pixel art in ways, or presents pixel art in ways it was not intended to be perceived by the, at the time, intended audience. Long story short, if you're photosensitive, be sure to be in a lit room, be sure to look away, or just skip the stream. That's fine too. And, yeah, where was I? Yeah, so Contra and Castlevania originally. Let's keep this running now that we have that a mixed frame filter for flicker. Pixels between two states and weight and so on. Yeah, I honestly wouldn't mind that for OBS. Like if there was a video filter, and I've looked into what video filtering on OBS can do. I looked at some examples of color-based flicker. Like someone on YouTube made a video where they were like, hey, for these specific types of sensitivities where sudden color changes could be avoided. But the filter in itself made the image look like completely falsified the image and made it look really bad. And it's a priority thing, and I try to be inclusive. Yeah. So this game can get really bad with its bigger sprites, and it's a very busy game to begin with. Yeah. But also, on the technical side, so the Super Nintendo could do a lot more in many ways. In ways that kind of outpaced the Genesis. The Genesis was a fantastic device for a lot of, and had a lot of great games, but in many ways it couldn't quite measure up to the technical fidelity that the Super Nintendo could master. So, and Konami was very adept at the time to just squeeze out a ton of really cool stuff out of, well, from my perspective as an old Nintendo kid, out of the Super Nintendo. But as this game shows, as this little sequence we just saw, they usually were like, yeah, no, if it's, there we go again. If it can show a bunch of pixels, we're gonna get the most out of the hardware. And Bloodlines had some really interesting effects. And of course the music suddenly had that Genesis crunch. Not quite the, oh, this almost sounds like it could maybe be a real violin or something. Stuff like that on the Super Nintendo. Or at least a real piano. Not like that, but they still leaned into the fact that the Genesis has a very artificial sound and made the most out of it. Like Castlevania was in good hands when it came to the music there. Yeah, the Genesis was also beat the Super Nintendo by 2 years to market. And yeah, the NES and the TurboGrafx, yeah, absolutely. Like the PC Engine was kind of this stopgap, and probably a lot closer to the Genesis than it is to the Super Nintendo in that regard. Oh yeah, I need to just dive into Treasure's Library. Another game on the Genesis that I think I once started but never quite finished. That always really impressed me was oh god, what is it called? You play as this guy with a chicken head in a little mech suit, and you fight all kinds of really, really cool bosses. Like it's almost a boss. The entire game is almost a boss rush. Alien Soldier, yeah. But that one is just such creativity. That's the kind of stuff where that I wasn't aware of at the time. I was aware of cool stuff like obviously Sonic and Comic Zone and why do I remember the subtitle but not the name? Treasure of King Noel. Yeah. Yeah, the choice paralysis with I'm right there with you. I'm glad that when I started with emulation, I had the fortuitous restraint. Let's just so. By the way, we're playing with the health bar restored from the Japanese version. Also playing with an infinite continuous sheet, and I activated 10 lives, so I can suck at this as much as we want. We will maybe occasionally game over, and then I get to play another character. Let's start with the boring vanilla guy. Security system has been breached by an unknown hacker. An unmanned robot is running rampant through the city. I want you to proceed to the area ASAP and restore order. This is more briefing than we ever got on the NES and Super Nintendo. Also, something I only realized while testing this is a wonderful little thing. You can use the switch key, like the switch weapon key, to switch between run and gun, or static, where you stay on one spot, and it's just... it's nice to have both options. But yeah, the decision paralysis, I have ADHD, so to me it's a very real problem. And it always feels so unfair to these regular mechanized goons who, once you have like a target-seeking missile, you basically, yeah, I'll just blink in your general direction and you're done. Climbing is still a thing. Very nice. Yeah, back when I first got into emulation, I'm glad that I really took the time to not just sample every which game that seemed interesting, but went for the games that I couldn't, I really wanted to play at the time, but couldn't for whatever reason. Like, I slept on Final Fantasy III, so Final Fantasy VI, the one with Terra and the opera and everything. I didn't import it from the US. So big flickering sprite coming up right here. I imported Chrono Trigger. I live in Germany, so for context, so I was a PAL region kid. I imported Chrono Trigger, and it's one of my favorite games, maybe the favorite game to this day. That is also so... like, this would have been obnoxious even without any kind of photosensitivity considerations. It also just kind of disrupts the art a little. Like, oh... great. Our ability to appreciate that. So, just about one of the first things when I got my hands on Z SNES, the classic Super Nintendo emulator, was playthrough Final Fantasy VI. And really take my time with it and not get lost in all the different options. And then eventually Mirko had finished his legendary Secret of Mana 2 translation of Seiken Densetsu 3. So also completely finished that one. But a lot of those games from those days that looked really cool and interesting at the time, I just kind of took a gander. Played maybe for like half an hour and then moved on to something else, and it's a shame because in terms of, hey, I've actually experienced this game and feel enriched for it. It's not, yeah. Like Bahamut Lagoon comes to mind, Tales of Fantasia, the first one, which was still on the Super Nintendo. It took me a long while to... I think the first time I finally finished Final Fantasy 4 and 5 was here on stream. So within the last 3 or 4 years. What or who are you? You can call me Deadeye Joe. If you want to know more than that, then come get me. Wait, did I not read out the dialogue about this not being an unmanned robot? Never mind. The research center is under attack by an unknown group. Please come and help. Damn, what should I do? Go after Deadeye Joe or rescue the research center? My gut, like, I think the choice, like the heroic choice would be to go for the research center. I've recently played a little bit of this, and to see if everything runs okay and if my current Genesis emulator config does everything I want it to. Oh, I kind of want to see the other branching path. Sorry. Spoilers. The head researcher is in on it, and he's a bad guy, so we're not leaving one of us in a bind here. Not really. Research center will remember this. I always adore the silliness of the bike just following our jumps. Like a lot of games from the day do this. You know the bomb guys from Serious Sam? The headless guys who come screaming at you because of video games with 2 bombs for hands? I think they would be really proud of this one little robot who just came charging at us with a ballistic missile. I really like the fact that this one restores the health bar, this version specifically, because it's such a downer when you have a good weapon and then you take 1 hit and it's gone again, and here you can at least take 2 or 3 depending on where you're at. And then you lose a weapon, you also don't use your entire arsenal with each subsequent death. It's nice. Metal Slug can get really tiring. Like, I kind of wish there was like either a good set of cheats or a ROM hack for the Metal Slug games to just kind of make it less of a grind, where you just feel, oh, okay, I guess I'm gonna die 3 times to get that heavy machine gun to make any headway. Wait, it has legs? Shit. As much as I admire Metal Slug for its spectacle and humor and wonderful pixel art, it is still very much a arcade game that feels like it wants your quarters badly. Oh wow, being a hero really sucks. You miss out on so much really cool shit. Also, how fast are we running out of our own power here? Hunter is one of those series where, like, some of you may notice, may know that in some territories where they were a little crazy with video game violence, Contra was rebranded Protector and Start Little Robots, which were also really cool. They had a really cool art style. Yeah, no, the protector robots also looked kind of cool. They had a bit of a Masamune Shiro aesthetic going on. And in this particular instance, it would probably be more plausible if we were in control of a robot. Rather than just some all-American dude who's... Yeah, I don't know if one of the playable characters here is a robot who is a little bit diminutive, but the head design has this bunny ear design you also see in some Shiro artwork. The mangaka behind Ghost in the Shell, Appleseed, a bunch of other classics. And the head and torso design of the little robot that we can control in this one looks a lot like that. So I wonder if they were kind of like, hey, we had this thing going for like some of the PAL territories. Dude, I know Pogo Stick was a trend in video games at the time, but Big DL. Yeah, not Scrooge McDuck. Oh no. You can't get away now. Give yourself up. He's gonna escape somehow. You fool. I'm nothing more than a decoy. By the time my friends have arrived at the research center and have gotten their hands on the alien cell. Oh, by this time. Alien cell? Now begins the true horror. It's one of those comically evil things. They're not like, yeah, no, we're gonna overthrow a system that we think is corrupt or whatever, or we're gonna extort you for a lot of money. No, no, horror. This is the motivation here. Damn, he blew himself up. So was that the real Deadeye Joe, or... Never mind. 3 days later. Identified the hacker who breached our security. His name is Neumann Cascade. We'll probably put that into Wikipedia and get something interesting. He's the best hacker on the net. He used the panic caused by the robot as a diversion so he could steal the mother alien cell from the research center. It's very likely there's an organization working behind him. His hideout is under a garbage dump. Don't screw this one up. Yeah, so the alien cell is apparently the last remnant from the aliens from Alien Wars, which is Contra 3 on the Super Nintendo. So yeah, sure, why not go with the horrible ever mutating biomass that... I mean, when I hear alien cell, it's basically shorthand for the thing from another world, or by extension maybe Yenova. Right, we have the slide and I'm not using it at all. The slide actually has iframes. It is here that we entered the German military helmet phase of Konami, because they also came up in Castlevania Bloodlines. Oh. I would have guessed that it is maybe in reference to some kind of, I don't know, phenomenon from computing or science in general. But oh, what a place to die. That's okay though. Let's pick someone else. We talked about the werewolf. We talked about it. Let's do the little robot. The little robot is fun. This one comes with a, well, breaking ball de facto. Oh, that creep. Now I'm on Cascade. Hehe, why didn't you try this on for size? And he's trapping us in cyberspace, because that's how VR works. And why I've never put on one of these infernal headsets, because I just know the moment I put on like an Oculus, I'm gonna be sucked into the Tron world, and you know, for sure. Welcome to the virtual zone. I hope you enjoy yourself. Yeah, the power set. I mean, he immediately died, so that weapon is gone, but I feel the weapons of the little robot, like, he seems diminutive, but he cannot. Like, he doesn't get. If anything, he gets hit less, because, you know. You fight well, fool. Let's see if you can handle this. I feel his attacks are just particularly vicious. Wow, that's like Green Lantern in the Green Lantern movie. Like, you could do anything you want. What do? I make some jets because I used to fly jets. Although, you know, going by the comic books, Hal Jordan was never the most creative Green Lantern, that's for sure. Looks like it's a game over for you. Video game reference. Don't hurt me, I'm just trying to make a buck. It's not personal. feel this guy with his talent, equipment, and clearly mind-bending capabilities would have other avenues for making a lot of money, like stupid amount of money. Yeah, yeah, or just not be vulnerable in this scenario at all that he controls. I mean, video game, sure. Oh, that looks like a main villain. Arwen told us who's in charge. Colonel Bahamut. Tying back to never having played Bahamut Lagoon. Is it any good, by the way? Anyone played it? I believe you've heard of him. He was a hero who fought during the Alien Wars, but 2 years ago he planned a coup d'etat to overthrow the government. As you do when you're a war hero. The coup d'etat was stopped in time, but the colonel fled. Until now, we had heard nothing of him. He's a dangerous man. I wonder what he's planning to do with the alien cell. His hideout is deep in the jungle. Good hunting. I like how this is basically shorthand for a lot of... I keep tapping I shoot my shield rather than just holding onto it. Yeah, I like how this I guess disgruntled war hero is basically one of those action movie tropes, but they completely skip the part where maybe he's at least a little bit sympathetic. Like Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now went mad with, I guess, power, but also just complete disillusionment of warfare. Guys like Ed Harris's group in the movie The Rock, I think they kind of wanted recognition for their service that they had somehow been robbed of, something like that. This guy is just like, I won a war, and I feel that I should run the country now. I mean, they don't have to do this for a video game in '94, but you know. I love this. It's like we're in some, I guess, South American jungle region. And again, cultural shorthand. Just the thing by way of other stories, like say Genosha on on X-Men and whatnot. We're just like, oh yeah, there's dinosaurs there. You know? The last pockets of dinosaurs. And this thing doesn't even do anything, it's just part of the scenery. It's super cute. Oh. They had real fun with the animation here. I wonder if this was something like sprite transformations like these, where you could angle them in fun ways, if this was something the Genesis could inherently do very well, because it comes up in bosses, also in like the clockwork boss in Bloodlines was like that too. A little bit like, yeah, we don't have mode 7, but we got this bag of tricks, and it's really fun. And makes enemies look supremely silly in an endearing way. Oh. Look at me, I'm a rocket ship. No, you cannot. You know, sit down. I guess Permit Lagoon probably also has the advantage of being a late Super Nintendo RPG, so it has likely very gorgeous graphics. Ah, so a bit like Tactics. I should follow up on Tactics. I feel it's not been too long to just pick up the previous started playthrough. I got burnt out on it, to be completely honest. Maybe I could fire this one back up, especially since we're not all that far past the prologue, so Ramza's story is basically only just started. And it's also just a really, really pretty game. It just looks like it's headbanging, and yeah, we're listening to some great tunes, that's for sure. Was X-Men Legends one of the animated series or one of the games? Oh, I'm supposed to do this, huh? Never mind. Let's just get this fucker down before we lose our last life. This is the end for you. Damn, a trap. Just as we planned, Colonel. Doctor, what's going on? Just as you can see, the doctor has been assisting us. I'm sick and tired of this weakling government. Having obtained something as magnificent as the alien cell, they squander the opportunity while locking it away in a vault. Okay, there you go. Some opportunity, some motivation. As crazy as it is. the Colonel feels as I do and will help me achieve my plans. Now I can carry on with my dark experience. Okay, again. Barry on the nose evil. X-Men Legends was... Yeah, no. The Marvel Alliance games, Ultimate Alliance, they were kind of the follow-ups to X-Men Legends. Yeah, the grind was a lot. They were fun to play with a friend. You treasures, even though everyone fights over Wolverine at some point. Well, Doctor, I will leave the rest up to you. There's no way to escape. You must surrender peacefully. Yeah, of course we're fighting to the end. Then again, I'm kind of curious what happens when I do this. Aha, take them. Welcome to my headquarters. Is it pleasing to you? You can drop the smoke, I'm gonna trash this place. There's no need for that. Unfortunately for you, my plan is in the final stages. I've transferred all functions to the space station. We're in space now. The headquarters is of no more use. It will soon be detonated. But Colonel, you can't... Sooo, he's in space now. Yeah, your existence means less than nothing to me, you flea. Really bad HR skills there. We'll not meet again. It'd be kind of wild if the game was just, yeah, no, you surrendered to the bad guy at gunpoint. You're done. It's over. Don't move. This is what happens to cowards like you. Oh, is he gonna do a war crime? Actually, I don't know if shooting deserters... Well, mutilating deserters is probably a war crime. Let's just get through this somehow. Also, water break. Okay, sorry. I had to understand clearing my throat. Okay. Wait, where? Yeah, there we are. Excuse me. Come on. Ow! Wonder where this sets us back. Let's try the lady, Sheena. Very 80s, 90s action name. I think using the glide on the slide. Yeah. Yeah, but also not getting too close to the red side is certainly good advice. I like how he didn't just convert dozens upon dozens of soldiers into weird, tadpole-looking things. But also engineered them in a way where they run towards a fiery inferno. Classic Contra enemy. Oh. Ah, the wall wasn't safe. The bosses in this game are absolute bangers. Sir, we told you you cannot ride your scooter indoors, please. You need assistance. We will happily provide that, sir. Yeah, he just keeps going. Oh shit, the legs are getting longer. Guess that's it for the good doctor. Yeah, especially without an extra weapon, and this late into the fight you're probably out of extra weapons and are just doing pea shooter damage. I feel they could have... Oh? You've done very admirably. So, wait, we weren't? Or we were on the space station? What? Or did we just ride like a space elevator up? You've done very admirably, but you're too late. I've used the alien cells to create Big Magnum. Behold, Big Magnum. He will reduce the planet to charred cinders. But why? Why? Okay. I'll stop you. I guess it's too late for, I don't know, Chicago? Who knows? I like how Big Magnum looks like it's not just controlling all these horrible contraptions, but also laying down sick keyboard riffs for this particular fight. But with a brain that size, multitasking is probably... it's probably not that hard. Yeah, I'm basically just trying to out-damage that big foe. We're about to continue again. Huh. Well, then I hope the wolf does better against Big Magnum. Honestly, yeah. I guess the embarrassing social media thing, I'd buy that. But also, a couple of bosses have dropped bonus weapons mid-fight, and I think when you have a guy who allows you to continue in his arena, you should have one after you get him down by a third or something. You get at least the machine gun, the better one, something like that. Really burning through those lives. Oh, you know, like that. That's not bad. For a second. So did the dude, like the main villain, use with the machine and the thing, because his face is now on the... Oh, great. That one was actually not bad. Yep, and we punch it so hard. We go supersonic. Just one more step and I... Wait. We have that feature. No, we don't. I did not enable the rewind for the Genesis core. I guess we get there. I'm not sure if there's like a an extra boss for those who finish it on hard or whatever. Oh, this was really brief. I mean, the Contra game, and we had infinite lives, so of course it's not gonna take 4 or 5 hours. Do I have a backup game? That's the interesting question. Brain blank. Like how the credits were always like complete gobbledygook. Either they had like stuff like Bike Man, or we're using were using aliases, which always felt like they were also not properly credited for their work, but maybe there was also a time when it wouldn't have been cool or, I don't know, socially particularly great if your full name came up in the credits of a video game. I don't know. Like the soundtrack of the very first Metal Gear Solid is still credited to a guy or a person. Don't even know if it's a guy. Nicknamed Tappy. And yeah. Glad we got the winning pose for the werewolf guy. For 2000. I guess that's topical. Somewhat. I don't smoke weed, but yeah. That was a really quick one. I will go on break. Maybe take the stream down for like a few seconds, just so that the VOD is cut and I don't have to do it manually and re-upload everything. So don't be alarmed if that should happen, and I'll just dive in and see what I can find. Yeah. See you in a few. Get up, stretch, refill your water if you have to, that kind of stuff. Practice some self-care, and I'll find something.